cars, start your engines!
Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome to Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. I'm Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing team, bringing you today's feature event. It's the Tyler Daniels Racing League of Legends Fall Fling from Pensacola, Florida. Tyler Daniels Racing is a diverse community that prides itself on being inclusive to all members, no matter their background, history, or ability. TDR has a charitable focus. We've held charity races for the Iowa Food Bank, the Wyoming County Animal Shelter, and for mental health awareness. We also have helped individual members. TDR members care about each other. We're not just a group, we're a family. Yeah, sometimes we squabble, but we always help each other out in iRacing and in life. Tyler Daniels Racing prides itself on intense, clean iRacing leagues. No matter your skill level or interest, TDR has something for you. Asphalt, dirt, road courses, ovals, NASCAR, IndyCar, Legends Car. If it goes fast and you can race it on iRacing, you can bet that TDR has a league that will race it too. This is race number 2 in the TDR League of Legends. After the first week of the season, Adam Rickey is the points leader. Rickey out front, followed by Trembley, then Jim Love, Mike Matherly, and Ashton Hooker, with Fish Fisher in 6th, Aaron Johnson in 7th, Eric Sellers 8th, and Joseph Ralph 9th, and Tyler Daniels, the man himself, rounding out the top 10. It's going to be an interesting race this week, as it looks like Adam Rickey and Jim Love, 2 of the top 3 drivers, are off this week, both of them having conflicts so that they're not able to make the race this morning. Let's have a look at today's starting lineup. Starting in the 16th spot, in car number 34, it's the Back the Blue Legends car of Chris Silverman. Chris racing with us out of Bohemia, New York. Starting 15th in car number 7, that's Andy Shainer in the Big League Chew Legends car, Andy from Brownstown, Indiana. Racing out of New England, in car number 2, it's Mark Breer in the ADA sign car. Mark will be starting in the 14th spot. Starting in the 13th spot, that's car number 12, Ashton Hooker. Hooker from New York in the Iron Maiden Legends car. In the 12th starting spot, in car number 21, it's the defending United States Racing League Legends champion, Mike Matherly. Matherly out of the Carolinas region. He'll be racing out of Hampstead, North Carolina. Starting 11th in car 55, racing out of Mishawaka, Indiana, that's Rick Kohler in the Trash Panda Racing Legends car. In the 10th starting spot, racing with us out of Canada in the STP car, that's Dale Power in car 37. Starting 9th in the Nerds Candy Mobile, that is Keith Fonseca in car 61, Keith out of the Virginias. Starting 8th in car 16, it's Fish Fisher from Long Island, Fish racing the Suicide Prevention Lifeline car. Starting 7th in car 25, it is Tyler Daniels, the man himself, the TD Family Racing Legends car out of New York. Starting 6th in car 66, that's Bob Burlew in the Basset Hound Rescue car, Bob from Whiting, New Jersey. Now, your top 5 starters. Starting in the 5th spot in car number 96, that's David Trumbly. Trumbly currently sits 2nd in the points. He's in the Trackmaster Sellers Insulation car out of Toledo, Ohio. Starting 4th in car number 13, that's the Pirate's Life car of Anthony Hooker. Anthony running out of New York. In the 3rd starting spot in car 17, racing out of Michigan, it's the AMR Paintworks car of Keegan Sobilo. Starting 2nd in car 97, it's the Sellers Insulation Admin Box Legends car of Eric Sellers from the Mid-South region. And on the pole in car 00, it's the Breast Cancer Awareness Legends car of Aaron Johnson, Johnson racing out of Bailey, Colorado. Today, 60 laps in the TDR League of Legends. It should be an interesting race. Looks like a couple of our points leaders, Adam Rickey and Jim Love, not able to make the bell today. That'll shake up the points at the end of the day. Johnson ran a quick lap to take the pole, but watch the 17 of Keegan Sobilo and the 97 of Sellers. Both those cars very, very fast in practice. David Trumbly also very quick in practice. So a lot of cars here to keep an eye on. These top 5 capable of running some really quick laps, as are some of the guys further in the back. Keith Fonseca, always does a nice job taking care of his equipment, so a lot of action to be expected. The green flag is out. Johnson hops on the throttle. It's going to be Johnson out front. Looks like Keegan Sobilo is going to try to follow Johnson past the 97 of Sellers. Sobilo trying to make the pass here, and it looks like he's going to do so. Out front, it's going to be Johnson, then Sobilo, Sellers. Looks like Trembley's looking to the inside of the 13 of Anthony Hooker. Hooker up on the high line. Out front, though, Johnson and Sobilo pulling away from the rest of the field 2 laps in very early. Tires will come into play. 60 laps at Five Flags is hard on tires, so tire management going to be a key here. Johnson jumps out to a quick early lead, pushing that car pretty hard early on, as it's Johnson, Sobilo, Sellers, then Anthony Hooker and Trembley. Those are your top 5. Lap 3 just underway. Aaron Johnson with the lead. The 17 of Sobilo in the second spot. We can see Sellers, Trembley, and Hooker. Bob Burlew now in 6th. Tyler Daniels has moved into the 7th position, with Fisher in 8th, Fonseca 9th, and Rick Kohler in the 10th spot. Kohler started out 11th. He is up 1. Matherly now in 11th with Power 12th. Andy Shainer drops back to 14th now as Hooker goes by. Then Breer in 15th and Chris Silverman in 16th. It looks like Sobilo is beginning to close back in on the 00 of Johnson. Johnson jumped out to a quick lead, but Sobilo beginning to reel him in. We are 5 laps in to a 60-lap feature, and it's Aaron Johnson with the lead. Johnson out front, Sobilo second, Sellers third. Keegan Sobilo, a very quick race car, and he is closing in on the 00 of Johnson, as is the 97 of Sellers. Those 3 cars putting a bit of distance between themselves and the 4th place car of David Trumbly. Johnson in that bright pink breast cancer awareness Legends car leads the way, followed by Sobilo and the 97 of Sellers. Sobilo now closing into about a car length behind Johnson. You can see Keegan Sobilo maybe trying to find a way around here, wanting to take the lead. We're 7 laps in to a 60-lap event. Johnson out front, Sobilo on his back bumper, Sellers in the 3rd spot. Sobilo looks to the inside. Johnson's just going to go ahead and give him room. It's too early to fight too hard, and Keegan Sobilo is going to make the pass on Johnson. It's Sobilo now with the lead, followed by Johnson, then the 97 of Sellers. Johnson leaving the door open, giving Sellers plenty of room as well. Aaron Johnson content to let those 2 faster cars by. Johnson's going to drop back to 3rd, and up front, it's going to be the 17 of Keegan Sobilo. Sobilo beginning to stretch the lead out just a bit over the 97 of Eric Sellers. It's Sobilo, Sellers, Johnson, Trembley, and Hooker, the top 5. Let's have a look at the way they run on the speedway. Out front, it is the 77 of Keegan Sobilo. Sobilo out front in the 77 car, followed by the 97 of Eric Sellers. Sellers currently running in the 2nd spot. There was a spin back there. Looked like Anthony Hooker. There will be no caution. Single car spins in the TDR League of Legends. You're expected to be able to get your car back underway on your own. So we only throw cautions in this league for multi-car accidents. In the 2nd spot, that is Sellers. Following Sellers, Johnson, our early leaders, drop back to 3rd. Then just behind Johnson, that's the 96 of David Trumbly. Trembley sits in 4th. Behind Trembley, next car on the speedway, that's the 66 of Bob Burlew. Burlew currently running in the 6th spot. Tyler Daniels in the 25 now sits 7th. Just behind Daniels, that's the 16 of Fisher and the 61 of Fonseca side by side. Those cars battling for the 7th spot. Fonseca up on the high side, Fisher down low. Fish, 2 wheels right on the white line. Fonseca letting the momentum of that high line pull him by. Right now, we've got a great side-by-side battle for 7th spot. Looks like Keith Fonseca is going to take over 7th and drop Fisher back into the 8th spot. Behind Fish on the speedway, that's the 21 of Mike Matherly. Matherly currently in the 9th spot in that Carolinas region car. Then behind Matherly, the next car on the speedway, the 7 of Andy Shainer. Shainer currently being shown in 10th. Behind Shainer and just to his inside, trying to make the pass, that's the 2 of Mark Breer. Breer looking to the inside of Shainer. Breer currently in 11th. These cars battling for the 10th spot. It looks like Breer's got position. Shainer giving Mark Breer plenty of space, and that allows Breer to go by on the low side. Just behind those 2 cars, we see the 55 of Rick Kohler. Kohler also trying to battle Andy Shainer. This would be the battle for 11th. Kohler currently right now being shown in 12th. Behind Kohler, it's the 12 of Ashton Hooker, that Iron Maiden Legends car currently being shown in 13th. Then the next car on the speedway would be Dale Power, that STP Legends car number 37. He currently sits in the 14th spot. Behind Power, it's the 34 of Chris Silverman. Silverman in the back the blue car. No numbers showing on that car, but it is officially car number 34. Last car on the speedway, that's the 13th of Anthony Hooker. Hooker, the last car on the lead lap, as he had an early spin, got into the inside wall in that Pirates Life Legends car. Out front, it is still the 77 of Keegan Sobilo. Sobilo beginning to pull away from the 97 of Eric Sellers. It's Sobilo in first, Sellers in second, Johnson third. Looks like David Trumbly has closed in on the 0 of Johnson. Let's see if we've got a little action here, as David Trumbly looks like he's beginning to put a little pressure on the hot pink 00 of Aaron Johnson. Trembley in the Trackmaster Sellers Insulation Legends car turns to the inside. Johnson stays up against the outside wall. Trembley doesn't quite have enough momentum to get position. Johnson and Trembley right now running third and fourth. Bob Burlew in the picture in the 5th spot. Out front, it is Keegan Sobilo in car 17. He's going to be 77 according to the number on the side of that car, but in your telemetry on the left-hand side of the screen, he'll show up as car 17, so that may be a bit confusing if you just switched on the broadcast. Sobilo 1, Sellers 2, Johnson 3, Trembley 4, Burlew 5. Keith Fonseca has moved up into the 6th spot. Fonseca started 9th, so 3 positions gained by Fonseca. This is a pretty competitive league. A lot of drivers with iRatings well north of 2,000. So a pretty good group here. It's hard to run from the back to the front. Fonseca doing a nice job moving into that 6th spot. Let's ride along with Keith Fonseca in the Nerds Legends car. He's kind of out there all by himself, pulling away from the 25 of Tyler Daniels and not really able to close in much on the leaders as yet. A caution would help to bunch up the field. Fonseca could really benefit if the yellow flag were to come out. Up front, back with Keegan Sobilo. Sobilo, a very smooth driver, a nice smooth line. One of the things we know about racing in general, but especially about Legends car, is the smooth way is the fast way. These cars are pretty tire sensitive, so if you have a tendency to scrub the tires, looks like the caution's out, and that looks like maybe it's the 34 Silverman that's been involved there. We can see left side fender's gone on that car. We've got a caution here on lap number 23. We know that Silverman was involved. Let's see if we can't get some video and have a look at what happened to bring out the caution. We'll watch Keegan Sobilo as he goes into the pits. Looks like Johnson's going in. Eric Sellers chooses to stay out. Trembley's in. Burlew, Fonseca, Tyler Daniels, Fisher, Breer, Matherly, Shainer, all those cars pitting. Anthony Hooker pitting. Looks like Ashton Hooker and Dale Power are going to stay out, as is Chris Silverman. Let's see if we can find some video, see what happened to bring out the yellow flag here on lap number 23. That's the 34. Silverman gets into the outside wall, collects the 55 of Kohler. Silverman down up against the fence. Kohler upside down over the fence in the pit area. That was a bad break for the 55 of Kohler. Let's watch the race off of pit road. It looks like Johnson's going to win the race off pit road, so Aaron Johnson may actually be the leader coming off of pit road. It'll be Johnson. Well, Johnson won't be the leader. Actually, Ashton Hooker will be the leader. Dale Power will be second. Eric Sellers had been running third. He pulls into pit, so Sellers may have stayed out to lead a lap, and now Sellers will pit and find himself further back and behind the rest of the field. So interesting pit strategy from Eric Sellers. Let's have a look at from the cockpit of Chris Silverman. Take a look at that accident from behind Silverman's steering wheel. Silverman comes out of the turn, gets up against the wall coming out of 4, collects the 55 and spins around and ends up on the inside wall. Silverman at least able to get that car back underway, so he didn't have to call out the tow truck. That'll keep Silverman on the lead lap. One of the other things about Tyler Daniels Racing League of Legends, we give each driver one quick repair. It's almost a get out of jail free card. You bang the car up, you get into the pits, you use the quick repair, and you come out with a car that's essentially repaired. It doesn't get every little bit of damage, but the repairs are mostly done. Out front, the leader is the 12 of Ashton Hooker. Let's see if we can crawl in with Hooker and get ready for this restart as the cars now begin to get side by side. Tyler Daniels Racing League of Legends does double file restarts unless we have back-to-back cautions. On back-to-back cautions, we will go single file. Out front, it's the 12 of Hooker. To his outside, the 37 of Dale Power. Johnson in third. Sobilo on the outside in fourth. Hooker and Dale Power on old tires. We'll see if these old tires can hold off the newer tires of Johnson, Sobilo, and the rest of the field. Hooker hammers the throttle. Restart is underway, and Ashton Hooker gets off to a great restart. He caught Dale Power napping. That's going to allow Johnson to go by. Sobilo looks like he's also going to go by Dale Power out front. It is Ashton Hooker. Hooker with a nice big lead. Sobilo looking to the inside of Johnson, as is David Trumbly. Those two cars got a great run down the straightaway, and they're both going to go by the 00 of Johnson as we come out of 4. Hooker leads. Looks like Sobilo will be second. Johnson is still in third with Trumbly to his inside. There's a battle brewing for the third spot. Aaron Johnson giving David Trumbly plenty of room as Trumbly works his way past. David Trumbly is going to take the third spot from Johnson. We are nearing the halfway point, and it looks like Keegan Sobilo is going to go by Ashton Hooker. New tires overpower the old tires of Ashton Hooker. Hooker does get credit for leading a couple of laps here out front. It's the 77 of Hooker. Sorry, the 77 of Sobilo, followed by Trumbly, Johnson, and then Hooker. Dale Power drops back to the 5th spot. Eric Sellers has jumped all the way up into 5th now. He's gone by Power. So the leaders mix it up just a bit. Sobilo first, Trembley second, Johnson third, Hooker fourth, Sellers fifth. Eric Sellers was one of the top 4 cars when the caution came out. We are now past halfway. Keegan Sobilo with the lead, Trembley second, Johnson third. Sobilo beginning to pull away from the 96 of Trembley. Johnson trying to put some pressure on Trembley as Trembley runs in that second position. Ashton Hooker stays in the 4th spot with Eric Sellers in 5th. Sellers on newer tires. It's just a matter of time, and Sellers has gone by Ashton Hooker, as has Burlew and Fonseca. Those cars also on new tires. Let's have a look at how they run on the grid, starting right now with the 77 of Sobilo. Sobilo out front. The next car on the speedway is the 96 of David Trumbly. Trumbly out of Toledo, Ohio, in the TMR Sellers Insulation car, currently running in the 2nd spot. Behind Trumbly, that's Aaron Johnson in 3rd. Johnson in the Breast Cancer Awareness Legends car. On the speedway, the next car in the 4th spot, the 97 of Eric Sellers. Sellers a bit back of Johnson, but he was faster than Johnson early in the race. Eric Sellers may be able to run down that 00. In the 5th spot, that's 66 of Bob Burlew. Bob in the Basset Hound Rescue car currently sits in the 5th spot. The next car on the speedway, then the 61 of Keith Fonseca. Fonseca in 6th in that Nerds car. Behind Fonseca, the next car on the speedway, the 21 of Mike Matherly. Matherly currently being shown 1 lap down, as is the 7 of Andy Shainer. Those two cars 1 lap down, battling for the lucky dog spot were the caution to come out. Right now, Matherly would be in the lucky dog position. On the speedway behind Matherly, that's the 34 of Silverman. Silverman currently shown 2 laps down. Behind Silverman, that is the 12 of Ashton Hooker. Hooker currently running 7th. He's on older tires, and it's beginning to show as the 13 of Anthony Hooker goes past to take over the 7th spot. Dale Power in the 37 also going to go by. Power will now be in the 8th spot. That's going to drop the 12 of Hooker back to 9th. We can see Kohler trying to go by as well. Rick Kohler in the 55, currently 4 laps down in 15th. Next car on the speedway is the 25 of Tyler Daniels. Daniels, the last car on the lead lap, currently running in 10th. Behind Daniels, that's the 16 of Fisher. Fish 2 laps down in 14th. Behind Fisher, we're back around to the 77. That's Keegan Sobilo with the lead. It's Sobilo 1, Trumbly 2, Johnson 3. A big gap between those cars and the 97 of Eric Sellers. Sellers currently running 4th. Johnson looking to the outside of Trumbly. Looks like Aaron Johnson might be just a little better than David Trumbly right now. Johnson and Trumbly were sort of battling for the 2nd position, 3rd position before the caution. Trumbly, I think, was a bit faster then, putting some pressure on Johnson. Now it looks like Johnson may be trying to put some pressure on Trumbly. Out front, though, it's still the 77 of Keegan Sobilo. Sobilo pulling away from the rest of the field. 20 laps remain in a 60-lap race. It is Keegan Sobilo out front, Trumbly 2nd, Johnson 3rd, Sellers 4th, Burlew 5th, then Fonseca, Hooker, Power, and Daniels. Anthony Hooker in 7th, Ashton Hooker in 8th, Dale Power 9th, Tyler Daniels 10th. Those 10 cars remain on the lead lap. We are 19 laps in. Sobilo pulling away. Trembley now beginning to pull away from Johnson. Johnson's car fading just a bit as we are Now 18 laps to go. Johnson's beginning to struggle, and we see Eric Sellers very slowly beginning to close in on the 00 of Johnson. Sobilo tags the outside wall. So Keegan Sobilo tags the outside wall there on the back straightaway. They come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Sobilo still out front. Trembley second, Johnson third. Eric Sellers definitely closing on this group. But out front, it is still Keegan Sobilo. Let's have one more look at how they run on the speedway. Sobilo is your leader. Second spot belongs to David Trumbly in the 96. And third, that's Johnson in the 00. Those 3 cars, a bit of a gap then to the 97 of Eric Sellers. Sellers beginning to put some distance between himself and the 66 of Bob Burlew. Burlew, 5th on the field. Behind Burlew, that's the 6 of Keith Fonseca. Fonseca, it appears, has closed in to some degree on Burlew. Fonseca may be trying to make a run out of it here. 16 laps to go. Does he have enough time to catch that 66 car? Behind Burlew, behind Fonseca, the next car on the speedway is the 21 of Matherly. Matherly, the first car a lap down. Just behind Matherly, that's the 7 of Shainer. Shainer also a lap down in 12th. Behind Shainer, that's the 13 of Anthony Hooker. Hooker currently shown in the 7th spot after an early spin and a tag to the inside wall, but he's managed to stay on the lead lap. The next car on the speedway behind Hooker is the 55 of Kohler. Kohler currently 4 laps down in 15th. Looks like Matherly's had some sort of an incident. He's slow and off the pace on the inside of the field. Behind the 55 of Kohler, that's the 16 of Fisher. Fisher currently 2 laps down in the 13th spot. Then behind Fisher, that's the 12 of Ashton Hooker on older tires. Hooker 8th, but on the lead lap. Behind Hooker, the next car on the speedway is the 37 of Dale Power. Power currently be shown in the 9th spot. He is the last car on the lead lap. Behind Power, that's the 77 of Sobilo. It looks like Trembley's closed in on Keegan Sobilo just a bit. We've got 12 laps to go. David Trumbly closing ever so slightly on Sobilo. Johnson hanging on to Trembley. And Eric Sellers has run down the leaders. Eric Sellers in the 4th spot, trying to put some pressure on the 00 of Johnson. We've got a race, folks. The 77 of Sobilo out front. Trembley's closed back in within about 3 car lengths of the 77 of Sobilo. Then it's Johnson and Sellers, those 4 cars pulling away from the rest of the field. Bob Burlew beginning to fade ever so slightly as Sobilo hangs on to the lead. Can Keegan Sobilo hold off David Trumbly, who has been moving forward? Trumbly now within about 3.5 car lengths of the 77. Lap traffic also could come into play as we can see the 55 car of Rick Kohler just coming into view. Sobilo stretching the lead a bit now over the 96 of Trembley. That was not Kohler. That car coming into view is the 12 of Ashton Hooker. Hooker, the last car on the lead lap. He is on older tires as Sobilo starts to stretch the lead again. Trembley, Johnson, and Sellers, 1, 2, 3. Aaron Johnson trying to find his way under or around Trembley. Trembley's car maybe beginning to fade a bit as Keegan Sobilo starts to pull away ever so slightly. Johnson looks to the inside, no dice. So does the 97 of Sellers. Ashton Hooker moves up high, gives the leaders plenty of room. We're going to zoom in here on the 96 of Trembley. That's quite a race brewing between Trembley, Johnson, and Sellers. Trembley holds on to the lead. Trembley holds on to second. Johnson in third. Looks to the inside. Doesn't quite have enough race car to get a wheel underneath Trembley. Trembley holding off Johnson. Sellers looking to the inside of Johnson as well. Eric Sellers very racy here. There's 7 laps to go. Sellers all over Aaron Johnson. Now looks up to the high side. Trembley trying to hold off Johnson. Johnson trying to hold off Sellers. He has his hands full as well. Eric Sellers now looks to the inside of Johnson. 6 to go. Johnson trying to get a peek to the inside of the 96 of Trembley. Now Johnson looks to the high side as well. No dice. Johnson with not quite enough race car. Eric Sellers working on Johnson as well. Trembley also at the same time trying to close in on Sobilo. Sobilo stretched that lead back to about 4 car lengths. The battle really for second between Trembley, Johnson, and Sellers. Johnson looks to the inside one more time as they go past the lap car of Tyler Daniels. Johnson just with not quite enough car coming off the corner. He can't get underneath the 96. Now looks to the high side. He's opened the door there for Eric Sellers. Sellers looks to the inside of Johnson. 4 to go. Johnson and Sellers side by side. Johnson drives deep into the corner. Sellers on the inside, Johnson on the outside, manages to pull back in front of Eric Sellers by driving off into that corner deep. David Trumbly holding off Johnson. They're still trying to close in on the 77 of Sobilo. Sobilo about 3.5 car lengths up. Johnson looking to find his way around the 96 of Trumbly. The 97 of Sellers trying to find his way around the 00 of Johnson. Johnson right on Trumbly's back bumper. Lap traffic coming into play. Johnson thought about looking to the high side. The 37 of Dale Power up there. Johnson stays behind the 96 of Trembley. Out front, Sobilo with the lead. Sellers looks to the inside one more time. This time he's got position. Sellers on the inside as they go into turn number 3. Sellers and Johnson side by side coming off of turn number 3. Now down to the checkered flag. Sorry, to 1 to go line. Sellers on the inside, Johnson on the outside. Let's zoom in on this race as Keegan Sobilo is going to win this race, but Aaron Johnson and Eric Sellers putting on a hell of a race for third. Sellers passes Johnson on the back straightaway. Johnson drives deep into turn number 3, now comes out of 4 on the outside, allowing the momentum to pull him past, and at the line it'll be Johnson holding on to the third spot. Boy, what a race between Aaron Johnson and Eric Sellers for third. Keegan Sobilo with the win, and I do apologize for not putting the camera on him as he took the checkered flag. But ladies and gentlemen, the race was really for third place. Johnson and Sellers having a hell of a run there to try to decide who's going to finish in the third spot. Out front, your winner is Keegan Sobilo. David Trumbly is going to come home second with Aaron Johnson third, Eric Sellers fourth, and Bob Burlew rounding out the top 5. 6th spot went to Keith Fonseca. He started 9th. Nice run for Fonseca. Anthony Hooker was 7th. Dale Power finishes up 8th with Ashton Hooker 9th and Andy Shainer rounding out the top 10. Shainer actually moving up 5 positions after starting 15th on the grid. Behind them, Fish Fisher was 11th, Mike Matherly 12th, Rick Kohler 13th, Tyler Daniels 14th, Chris Silverman 15th, and Mark Breer finishing up in the 16th spot. Quite a race from Five Flags Speedway. Sobilo's celebrating, and as he does that, let's see if we can't have a look at the point standings after this race. David Trumbly is going to become your new points leader after Adam Rickey failed to really make the grid today. He was off. Aaron Johnson's going to jump 5 spots. We see a little action on the speedway. Johnson's going to jump 5 spots into second, with Eric Sellers also moving up 5 into third. Ashton Hooker's going to jump up 1 to fourth. Mike Matherly will drop now to 5th. Fisher's going to stay in the 6th spot. And Fonseca and Burlew are going to move up to 6th and 8th respectively, both of them jumping up 5 spots. Anthony Hooker will be 9th, and Tyler Daniels will round out the top 10. We take a look at the standings compared to USA. We can see that Adam Rickey's going to drop out of the top 10, as is Jim Love. Jim Love will drop from 3rd out of the top 10. Joseph Ralph will drop out of the top 10 as well. Ralph will drop from 9th to somewhere well down the field. Well, it was an interesting race at Five Flags Speedway. Keegan Sobilo in the 77 takes the win, with David Trumbly second, Aaron Johnson third. That shakes up the points as Adam Rickey didn't make the field, so your points leader drops well back in the standings. Next week, the League of Legends will make its way to Irwindale Speedway for a big race on the outer speedway at Irwindale. That'll do it for the TDR League of Legends Fall Fling from Five Flags. This is Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing Network saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.